Record. So the first question is everyone okay? Everybody doing fine? How is your Twitter efforts going?
It's awful.
Awful. Yes, it is.
I was trying to tweet since this morning and then the whole day yesterday, and then had calls, had meetings, I had lots of things ready to get started with. I couldn't go on. Couldn't find any minutes. I have like 1,000 tabs open, ready to go, and it's just I get too
okay. How much of it is like imposter syndrome or fear or you setting yourself back? Nothing like that?
No. I have it ready. It's just that I have the team pinging me for doing just shits the whole time.
Okay.
I've been doing Figma and the subdomains that just shits the whole time, calling me for nothing for 2 days.
So what I'd suggest is start with your bathroom time. I believe that you, just like any human, go to the bathroom at least once a day. Start by tweeting when you are there. Okay, that's the kind of pause that nobody can.
I need to. I don't know. Focus. I can't do that.
Yes, I know. Now, a more serious kind of advice, something that I used to do at Deloitte, so while working full time, was to set multiple events on my calendar, as I've mentioned before. Every 2 hours, I had an alarm. And so I knew that every 2 hours, I had like 5 to 10 minutes to go on Twitter and say something, either to tweet something, engage with someone, like the first person that I had this
too. I settle everything in the morning. When I arrive, like 8:30, I settle everything for the day. And then I have my notifications, as you said, to just, think of spending time doing the things I already have in my mind, but I just can't. Everyone is pinging me again.
Okay.
So I'll try.
Well,
thank you.
I'll keep being this pain in the ass regarding all of you, because over the next couple of weeks, I'll keep coming back to you, like just to know how things are working. Okay. So if you give up, I'll be the kind of person that will point you out, like, hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you creating content? So yes.
No,
Farouk, Tita, Sarah.
Personally, I'm planning on. Excuse me. I'm just planning on telling everyone that I need 5 hours a day to work on the social, and then no one should disturb me anymore. That's just my plan.
Anyway. Sarah, Farouk, and Tita, anything regarding your Twitter content creation and growth?
Well, yesterday was a very busy day. Today is another busy day. Bunny, I still have to work on the feedback you gave me on Monday. I've been doing okay in terms of creating threads, but not great threads. Let me put it this way. But, and the rest of the week...
I'm more worried about your engagement. Right now, at the moment where you are, Crazy saying that the link doesn't work. Okay. Weird, because everyone is here. But yes, sorry, Farouk. You were saying?
No, I was just saying, and yeah, this week, yesterday was too busy. Today is too busy. Next 3 days, I'm traveling. Actually, I might miss the class on Friday because I'm traveling.
Okay.
And I don't know whether you plan to have a feedback or the Twitter Spaces on Sunday. I hope not, but because I'll be traveling on Sunday also.
Okay. So yes, I am pretty flexible in terms of both the feedback sessions and even the Twitter Spaces on Sundays, because as I've mentioned before, that's something that I want to keep doing, like every single week, to keep having office hours where people can join, can discuss a couple of things, like talk whatever they want about Twitter audience building, community building, whatever, things like those. Okay. So if you can't come this week, next week we will have another moment for you to come. So okay.
So I will be on a Twitter break for the rest of the week. Hopefully I'll be back working on Twitter from next Monday to answer your first question.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was saying that I'm more worried about your engagement. And when I say engagement is, okay, so you from all the people here, you have already, if I'm not mistaken, 700 followers, which is already a good enough audience to start growing. So you are perhaps one of the closest persons here to reach, or at the moment, to be able to reach the 1,000 mark, the 1,000 followers mark. And that's the hardest one to achieve. But you won't do it just by tweeting threads. You have to engage with people and start building some momentum, bringing people together under your account, under the stuff that you are currently creating. And that's where I hope that you are all putting enough effort by quote tweeting other people's content, commenting on their bigger accounts, whatever. Yes, Farooq, sorry.
No worries. What I was trying is, yeah, the rest of the week, I might not be but from Monday, I'm serious about it. So I will be reaching out to you also, even after the course has ended, for retweets, help, comments, blah, 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 all that stuff, Discord or Twitter DM or something.
Great. So by the end of our lesson today, I'll ask each one of you and here in terms of a class to give me like 2 to 5 minutes of feedback on all the course. So I have already enough bullet points for me to improve on our next batches, like to deliver better content in terms of examples, bring more structure, perhaps to have accountability partners and match each one of you with other people. So to review some of the homeworks, okay? So I have all these things that I know I want to keep building on top of these batch and these bootcamp. So by the end, just keep this idea on the back of your mind, because by the end of our lesson today, I'll ask you some feedback on how can we improve these kind of batches, okay? So Chris, by the way, how are you, my man?
Hey, I'm fine. Sorry, I haven't been there on Monday. We had public holidays. I was with my kids in the some sort of a park. I couldn't be on time. So I had the choice.
Life being life.
Yeah.
Okay, so for today's lesson, I brought I haven't brought a huge number of slides. Instead, I really want to go to my own behind of the scenes to show you how I come up with my content at scale. Okay, so let me just share with you our lesson today. So once again, and as usual, today our lesson is about creating content at scale, okay? And this is when we have to start talking about building systems, creating some sort of a process for you to start to gather ideas, gather inspiration, treat those ideas and that inspiration as content ideas and content inspiration to create your own pieces of content, okay? And instead of bringing you like huge concepts and things like those, I just bring 2 or 3 key concepts that I believe are key concepts. And then I want to showcase you how I do it on my daily basis, okay, on a daily basis. So today we are going to see setting up the right systems, finding ideas and inspiration, and building your own content manufacturing or process or content machine, whatever, call it as you want, okay? But first, let's just recap our lesson 5, okay? And our 5th lesson, it was about owning your audience. So to launch a newsletter, how to go from 1,000 followers to 10,000 followers, and for you to start building a community instead of just building an audience, okay? So these were the 3 key concepts that I brought on our last session. So let's jump into the recap and make it as fast as possible, as humanly possible as usual. So in terms of owning your audience and launching your newsletter, this is a very important step that most big creators that I know, and me also, we all have a newsletter. And the thing is that having a newsletter is having the power of collecting emails, okay, which allows us to have email addresses, which is an open protocol, which means that there is no one that can take our email down. Instead of, for example, on Twitter, people can be banned, people can have their accounts suspended, whatever. So a bunch of different reasons that things can go bad, whatever it is on Twitter, tomorrow on LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever, okay? So having people's email, first, it's a very personal touch. Having their email is like almost writing them a letter Almost everyone opens their emails when they are personal. And second, it is a way for us, if we lose everything someday, if we lose all our work on one single platform, we still have a couple of emails, and so we don't have to start from zero, okay? We can reach out to our audiences, ask them for help, whatever, okay? But also, and once again, make sure that you find your target audience to build your email lists on top of a good tool, okay? And regarding tools, we have talked about Review, which allows you to integrate your newsletter on your Twitter profile, which allows you to convert more people and easily, okay? Or yes, much easier than just having a link on your profile, okay? So make sure that you start by using Review, and the moment you start growing your newsletter, you'll be able to see other types of tools like ConvertKit, like Behave, and other tools like those for you to build your newsletter, okay? So this is why you should own your audience, and building a newsletter is a very powerful tool. The second bullet point was to go from 1,000 to 10,000 followers. And when it comes to going from 1,000 to 10,000 followers, I have mentioned that you have to find your niche, okay? So if you want to grow until 1,000 is much more about engagement, being present, being consistent, and creating value. When it comes to go from 1,000 to 10,000 followers, now you should start being recognized by a specific matter, a specific topic, okay? So you want to be able to find your niche, and how? So by creating content often and consistently, so people will recognize you as the person, the go-to person in terms of a certain type of content, to get feedback from your audience. So see what resonates with them, and use your analytics to get better insights on what works and what doesn't, okay? Regarding your analytics, this is the most powerful tool that right now, at the beginning of your journey, you have on your side to help you get an insight on how well your tweets perform, okay? So look for high engagement rates. 3 to 5% or more are very good. High number of comments, high number of retweets, and look for what are the core topics or the key tweets that helps you get more profile visits, okay? So you have to be constantly tweaking these tweets that you write and these threads that you publish for you to find your niche, your audience, and what works with them, okay? By the 1,000 followers mark, you will be able already to understand what you are creating content about, and so your niche will emerge, okay? And the moment your niche starts to emerge, that's the moment when you start to double down on that, to create more content, to build your own name, to build a name for yourself, okay? And so how to build a name for yourself? How can someone start building a name for themselves, okay? And one key aspect or a key element is by launching digital products, okay? Digital products are products that you can sell through digital channels, have a small cost of production, and you can scale easily. Okay, and why are launching digital products a very good strategy? Because they give you some proof of work, so people will see everything that you have, both your Twitter audience, but also your digital products as proof of work, as a resume, like your CV. It will help you to get more leads into your content funnel, so to convert more people that by subscribing to your new newsletter, you can now take them into buying a new product or downloading a freebie, or instead by downloading a freebie, you are now able to use their email and convert them into your newsletter, okay? So just to give you an example, I launched a freebie a couple of months ago, and I got 1,500 downloads, which means that I have on my own newsletter, my personal newsletter, I have 1,700 subscribers, and I still have 1,500 people who have downloaded my freebie, giving me access to their emails. emails those that I can add to my newsletter, okay? It helps to build more trust with your audience. And why? Because by creating digital products, you are putting in the work to showcase what you know. And if people buy or download your digital products, that means that people recognize the value that you have come up with, okay? So it will build even more trust. Okay. And the best part of all is that it will convert your followers into a community. Why? Because you'll be able to segment your followers. Like I have almost 30,000 followers, and I have almost 3,000 people between my freebie and my newsletter willing to subscribe or download something that I do and I put out, okay? So that means that these people, they are willing to learn more and keep learning both about my journey and the stuff that I want to keep doing and creating, both on community building on top of Web3 and audience building on Twitter, okay? And so it helps me to reach out to them anytime I want to build an audience, I want to build a community. If I want to launch a new course, a new product, I can reach out to them to seek for their feedback, their guidance, their help, okay? And some examples of digital products are, for example, ebooks, okay? And don't think about a 100-page, think instead of a 3-page ebook, something that, for example, you curate a bunch of resources and now you share a Notion page, okay? A Notion page with 50 blog articles that you have been curating about a certain topic is already a very good freebie to share with people, okay? So courses, for example, paid newsletters, paid access to your gated community, or resource hubs, okay, like tools, links, directories, whatever, okay? But the best way for you to start having and building these digital products is to offer value consistently and for free. So start by creating a bunch of freebies, like 1, 2 to 3 freebies, and only on the fourth, then you will have a good digital product that you can sell for a certain amount of money, and start making some money, okay? That's the step when you start monetizing your audience, okay? For example, in my case, monetizing my audience is not necessarily my key strategy. So I have no digital product. I just have a freebie. And now I have launched this course that you have all bought and enrolled, but under the Vinci DAO thing, okay? So not necessarily as a personal thing. So it is not my personal product. It is a product that is built out of my personal experience, but for Vinci DAO, okay? So regarding the building a community is a very important aspect, because when it comes to building the audience is just the first step, okay? So building the audience is like the first step in your acquisition funnel, okay? So you want to reach more and more people to convert them into something, either to subscribe to your newsletter, download your product, use your product, or join your community. And why is it so important to build a community? Because communities are about traits, values, and missions that people recognize with, okay? And Twitter Spaces is one of the key tools or key features if you want to start building a community. And why? Because now people will be able to hear from you, the person behind the content that they read, okay? And by hearing you, they'll be able to make you questions, they'll be able to better understand you and better know you, so you will build even more trust, okay? Some of the core features on Twitter Spaces, so I don't want to go in depth here because you may know them already. And why to use Twitter Spaces? Once again, because it allows you to speak, people can hear you, and by hearing you, you will build more trust. And so you will eventually turn part of your audience into a community, okay? These are some examples on things that you can do under the Twitter Spaces, like sharing lessons, how I got 500 plus followers in a couple of weeks. Ask me anything, like how I went from 0 to 22K followers in 4 months. Chat and chill, like come chat and chill about Twitter and Web3, okay? So these are just good things or good ideas to bring people together under a certain topic, okay? There are many more ideas, naturally, much more. So having a community is a very powerful tool for you either to have or find more ideas that you can create content about, either also to better know your audience, okay? So having a community of like-minded people will help you during your journey, okay? You will work as a team. And so some differences between building an audience and building a community is that building an audience is just about people that follow you despite the values or shared goals. So we are talking about people who like or love the type of content or the type of thing that you share, okay, or are willing to learn more about the things that you write about. Regarding a community, it is much more like a diamond. So you have to put a lot of work to shape it, you have to put more care. So we are talking about like-minded people that come together with the same core values and common goals, okay? So you have to put in the work to shape your community, okay? And so if you want to start building your community, you should start by defining your mission and values, the goals that you want to achieve with your community, find your target community and bring them to a safe place. And this means places on the internet, online tools, or offline where you can bring these people together and get them involved in building along with you, okay? So it is no longer about one-to-many. One-to-many is building an audience, is like you speak, people hear. It is much more about many-to-many, which means that you are a facilitator. You bring people to the table for them to know each other and create value together, okay? So this is about tech stack for you to build a community. So if you want, just come back to this slide and that's it. So now let's jump into creating content at scale. This is one, as I've mentioned, a class that I really want to show you the behind of the scenes on my own production systems. So I hope it helps you. But first, first, I want to talk to you about systems, okay? And I truly believe in systems thinking, perhaps because I'm a former consultant, perhaps because I suffer from OCD. I really don't know, but I love to think about systems. And when it comes to systems or systems thinking, if you want to, we are talking about a way or a framework, a mental model that we can use in terms of thinking about how to come up with the right processes, tools, and things like those where we can excel ourselves, okay? And for example, when it comes to creating content on Twitter, we have two types of systems, or instead we have one single system with two types of processes, okay? We have a system which is more reactive, and we have a system which is more more anticipated, okay? So on one side, we have content that we can create because it makes the news, it is the new hot topic, it comes from what your community asks or comments they make under your content, okay? That's the more reactive side. On another side, we have something which is much more thought, okay, which is like, I know the topic that I want to write content about, and so these are a couple of ideas and threads that I can start writing today to share or publish in a couple of days, okay? And when it comes to this system, you have to have the right tools for you to understand how to come up with to find the right ideas, the right inspirations, and the processes to turn those ideas into content. Okay, so in this moment, forget about the tools. Okay, creating a system has nothing to do with tools. It only has to do about organizing, structuring your thinking on how to make this a good system. Okay, so just to share here with you some tools of a system thinker. Okay, so in terms of these tools, let's say these are just like not necessarily mental models, but yes, small mental tools, okay? So instead of you looking like, and nowadays we jump from one social media to another social media, to another source of content, to another thing that we are reading, to another whatever, okay? And most of the times, everything seems disconnected. But being a systems thinker, or a system thinker, is trying to understand, okay, how can I connect the dots between every single piece of content that I have to touch in during my day, okay? The same way here. So instead of just having a linear thinking, which means I want to go from point A to point B and then to point C, is more about how can I make sure that point A, B, C, and D are constantly interconnected in a circular way where everything helps me to bring something, to build something bigger. And this means that instead of you thinking of in silos, like I learn and love topics under the marketing niche, I love things under the business niche and then the design niche, you can now, for example, try to emerge or see what emerges in terms both of patterns that you can identify or the way on how you interconnect these different topics. For example, me, Bernie, I love design, like product design. I love business, and I love inside business. I love culture, the culture of a company, and I love marketing. Okay. And what these three different things, which seem different silos, help me understand is that, for example, communities is about business culture, is about how people see themselves and work with each other. Okay, they have to be designed in a compelling way that bring more people together and that we can remove frictions so people can work in a better way. Okay, and at the same time, having a community also helps me in terms of marketing, because first I can test new ideas with my own community, and second, I will have more people helping me in terms of word of mouth. Okay, and this is how I have break down three different silos, which are marketing, business culture, and product design, and saw some things that I can interconnect, and all of them help me in a circular way on about thinking in a new idea coming from different things. Okay. And now this means that instead of you having multiple parts, you will start having a whole, which means that all of these different things that you start identifying and connecting between it, then all of them having this circular way of thinking and seeing new patterns emerge will help you to have a bigger puzzle. Okay, you now will have more parts to bring to the whole of your puzzle as a content creator. Okay. And then instead of just analyzing each one of these things independently, you will now be able to synthesize everything under one single umbrella, under one single puzzle or lens. You'll be able now to extract key things that touch themselves and establish relationships between these multiple things instead of just analyzing each one of them in an isolated way. Okay, this is how a system thinker most of the times uses these tools to try to create new things and analyze the overall activity as a system. Okay, so I could go deeper into the system thinking thing because that's a thing that I love, but whatever. Let me know if you want me to go deeper on systems thinking.
Just if I may.
Yeah.
Which book is this from? Just because it looks very interesting.
Sorry?
Is this from a book or something? Just because it looks very interesting?
In this case, this is from a very good article called 6 Concepts Every System Thinker Should Know, okay, which are these 6 different concepts here. But I can share with you a couple of things that I've read about systems thinking, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is a very practical thing in terms of analyzing your daily life, 2 or 3 different systems, whatever, okay? Yes. So now regarding defining ideas and inspiration, okay? And this is where most people struggles, okay? Most people struggles on how to find new ideas. Where can I find inspiration for my content? Okay. And people forget that they are always bumping into a bunch of different ideas and inspiration. Like nothing is made out of nothing. Everything is made on layers, one upon the other. And so everything is always adding into a whole once again. Okay. If we come back here, everything is always adding into a whole. Okay. And so if we see our content creation as a system, we will start identifying that a bunch of different tools and social media platforms and things that we currently consume, we can already use them as inspiration and to gather ideas, okay? So this is where I find a ton of ideas from to my own threads, okay? Like I go on YouTube and, and I see a video that I love exploring a certain concept. So the next thing that I do is I jump on Twitter, I go to the search bar and I search about that topic to see if anyone has ever written a thread about that topic. If yes, I go see if I can add any value on top of that content piece. If not, then I'll be the one writing a thread about that, okay? Like Instagram and TikTok, there are currently, every single day, there are people adding more and more content on Web3 related stuff, from DeFi to NFTs and all of that, both on Instagram and TikTok. So if the difference between you using them, just these platforms just to consume content, or instead to consume content intentionally, means that you will find more and more ideas that you can explore. And for example, TikTok is just about videos from 15 seconds or 10 seconds to 1 minute, I think so. So which means that you can pick someone's idea and work on top of their idea and create a new piece of content, okay? You can use blogs, websites, and articles. You can even use and subscribe to some different newsletters, or even find inspiration in landing pages. So landing pages are pages built by very smart people, who are founders, and they are already addressing a specific problem. Okay, and sometimes the specific problem or the audience they are speaking to is also the same audience having the same kind of problems that you are creating content for. And once again, never forget that your content is your own product, okay? Each thread is a new feature that you are releasing. So when we can take a look into this lens, then we can use landing pages to help us to gather better perspectives on how to write better content for that target audience, okay? And we can also use other people's content. What do I mean here? I mean that, for example, if I see someone sharing, for example, 10 tools to start learning about Web3, I can now write a new thread about not 10, but perhaps 20 or 30 different tools to start learning about Web3 for free. And I can bring 2 or 3 tools or resources that person identified earlier than me, and I can include those resources on my new thread. And so I am creating more value on top of the type of value that person had created already. Or the last thing that most people completely forget to create content about is about online courses. Okay, so if you are going through this course or Ship 3430 or a course about crypto or DeFi or whatever, on every single class that you have, you can create like 2 to 3 different threads just about the content that people are sharing with you. Like you can create an entire thread just about systems thinking. You can create an entire thread just about finding ideas and getting inspiration from, okay? And then you can find like, there are here 20 different threads, like one thread for the best YouTube channels, best Instagram profiles, best Twitter, TikToks, best blogs, websites, and articles, best newsletters to follow under a specific topic like DeFi or Web3 or NFTs or whatever. And here are dozens of different threads, okay, or different ideas for you to write content about. Okay, so my key thought here that I really want to share with you is use the time you already used to consume content, but to consume content about the topics you want to create content about. Okay, so be intentional about the content that you consume, because now you are trying to build an audience. Now you are trying to be a creator. Okay, and so use other people's work to create new stuff. And this is an idea from Tiago Forte. Tiago Forte has built fortelabs.co, And he has one of the best courses out there in terms of building what he calls a second brain, okay? When it comes to finding ideas and inspiration, so ideas and inspiration, they come in all shapes every single day, no matter in what time of the day, okay? And so it is very important for you to have a central place where you can gather all these ideas and inspirations, okay? Sometimes it can be screenshots, files, web pages, photos, whatever, okay? Handwritten notes or texts, book notes, whatever. So what you should do is to build to build a second brain, okay? A second brain, in my case, I use Notion, and I will share with you how I use Notion, okay? But the thing is that you can work with multiple tools, so don't complicate the thing that you already use. If you use Notes or Google Docs or Readwise or whatever, just keep using those tools, but now try to come up with the system of gathering those ideas, those notes, those thoughts, and compiling them all on a specific place. Give them a certain category, like this article is about Web3 on deconstructing for beginners, for example. And now you have already a piece of content that you can go back later to get some ideas or inspiration for you to come up with a new content piece, okay? So this is a very important concept. I'd love to bring you more about the second brain, but I'm not the guy who talks about building a second brain. So make sure to follow Tiago Forte. And if you want to iterate on some of these ideas or discuss some of these ideas with me, feel free to ask, because I have been building my second brain over the last couple of months and years. So I have already some thoughts on what works better and worst, okay? And now the third step in terms of how I do it, and then I want to share with you, okay? So after explaining this concept of building your second brain, let's quickly make this exercise, okay? So we know already that we have to analyze our content production as a system, okay? A system that has a reactive and a proactive side. The reactive side is a kind of content that we create about hot topics or things that our audience either asks or comments, okay? The proactive is the kind of research or content that we research about to write a thread a couple of days before the thread is published, okay? And so for us to analyze and start gathering all this content that we see and consume, to start interconnect, have a circular thinking, see some patterns emerge, analyze things as a whole to find a whole on everything that we consume, synthesize the information that we gather, and create relationships between all of that, we should try to build a second brain, because it helps us to bring every single piece of content that we consume and any idea or inspiration that we have into a central place, okay? And so now that we know this, so these are, for example, two tools that I currently use. I use others, like I use the voice memo from iPhone. I use, this one is Bear. So Bear is an app for iPhone also for you to take notes. It's much better than just the native notes, note-taking app that comes with iPhones. A bunch of people that I know, they use Evernote. I also use Notion. Okay, Notion is my go-to place to organize my systems and to create my process, okay? Because that's the next step. So after we know where to gather things and how to gather things so we can identify the system, this is the moment when we start designing our process. Once again, don't stress about the tools. You can start with a sheet of paper just by laying down the process that you want to follow, and then you can jump on Notion and start building that process step by step. Okay, so this is what I currently use. This is a very, very, very simple thing to come up with. Okay, so I have this dashboard on Notion where I have a table view, a board view, and a calendar view. The table view, and I will show all of that in a couple of seconds. The table view is just a table, okay? It has almost nothing, either just some ideas. The board view gives me these, and this is my process, okay? So I have a bunch of ideas in some columns here. I decide what is the next idea to write about, and I pull that idea on the next up. I start searching about these ideas. I start scripting about these ideas. I review, I schedule, and I publish, okay? And then I go back once again to my idea pool to pull the next up, and then search, and then script, review, schedule, and publish, okay? And the calendar view helps me by giving me a view of my calendar so I can understand when are threads being published, so I can be as consistent as possible with the day where I publish, okay? On my notes, for example, and this is from my notes, my note-taking app, I have here a bunch of different ideas also, okay? I also have a bunch of different articles and inspirations, but this was just to give you an idea, okay? So now I want to share with you how I would do, okay? So for example, these are some places that people completely forget that they can use to find ideas and inspiration. For example, a very good tool that I use is Refined. Okay, so Refined is like they give you a bunch of content, and there are certain topics that you find nice and that you want to follow. Okay, so I use Refined for free on my cell phone, on my iPhone, and I have a bunch of different topics. I just signed up here on their web browser app just to showcase you. Okay, and in this case, for example, if I want to, like, if I am into growth hacking, okay, I can come here, I view the article, I can read the article instead of having to jump to Indie Hackers. I can read here the article, and if I like this article, I can just save it, okay? I can save the article, I can whatever, do a bunch of things, okay? I can save to a bunch of different places. I can highlight whatever, okay? And then I can even add here with this one, okay? So this little thing here is the web clipper from Notion, and I can add this page on my own Notion so I can know where I have to come back later. Okay, in this case, I have a place that I call digital brain dumping, which is the place where everything goes there. And from time to time, I go there to reread some articles and things like those. Okay, so the first thing is, if you use Notion, install the web clipper. If you have already the web clipper, you can start saving some things into your Notion, just like this, okay? And that's it. Now, another place is communities, and communities like Indie Hackers, Reddit, and others like those, they are awesome to find either questions, either topics that are trending, whatever, okay? You have here a bunch of different, so if I do login, let me just log in here for you to see. Yeah, so if I do login, I have a bunch of different groups and things that I can follow. Okay, explore success stories. I can write about these stories. I can write about, hey, this is how this founder went from having zero to making whatever money per month. Okay, like how this person have made $50 of profit from a side project called Anonymous Slack bot. Okay, so this is a couple of ideas that you can find either on Indie Hackers or other platforms like Reddit and others, okay? Another thing very good is Moozly, okay? Moozly Inspiration is built by Envision. Envision is a very powerful software tool for designers, and they started by building these for designers, okay? And the cool thing about, so let me show you how Moozly opens. This is once again an extension for Google Chrome, and anytime I open a new tab, this is what happens, okay? So this is Moozly, and if I want to keep watching things or seeing things, I just have to scroll down, and now I have multiple things coming from different websites just for my own inspiration, okay? I can find under the design, trending topics, tech, culture, news, or even search based on Google or Moozly itself, okay? And so if I write here Web3, I will have things coming from product hunt, so I can write about products that I find, I can write about news, I can write about a bunch of different things, okay? This is just another way for you to find inspiration. And how? So for example, I saw this article, okay? So this article is about 50 cryptocurrency and NFT terms you should know or you need to know. And this is, for example, a very good thread. Like I can write a thread about 50 terms on Web3, 50 terms about Web3 you should know. I can just write one single tweet for each one of these different terms. And there you have an entirely new thread for you to publish, okay? And in the end of the thread, you can even leave the link to the original article and make sure to always give credits anytime you use someone's sources. But in this case, I can do that, okay? So I can write a thread, the thread can go viral, and people will take a look into the article if they want to, okay? Or instead, I have here another product that I can write about. So this is a product with a bunch of communities. I can come here and, for example, filter under the ones which are the most popular or more recent, and I can immediately write a certain a thread like these are 10 DAOs that you have to know about, or these are the biggest DAOs that you should join right now, okay? And yes, so this is how you can come up with ideas, okay? So in terms of my own, about my process, so not this one, sorry, okay, let me jump here. Okay, so this is what my Notion doc is currently, okay? So I have here my Notion document called Bernie's Twitter content, okay? I have here threads under ideas, Twitter threads, swipe files that I have bought or gathered from other people, learning from different things. I have databases with creators and threads that I want to follow and get inspiration from, digital products or ideas that I may have. And also here, as you can see, I can have all my ideas like as a table, okay, where you have multiple things that you can add to give context to the thread or idea that you are currently creating or working. I can have here my board view where you can see here a couple of them have no status, others are ideas, and then I just pull an idea, I pull it here on next up, I start searching some of them, scripting, review, schedule, and then publish, okay? And there, for example, this one that is currently on script. So I link here a bunch of different things. I try to answer some questions. And here are a couple of key points to talk about, the format, some of the research links, etc. Okay. Yes, and now regarding, for example, I think it is not here, obviously. Exactly. So do you remember when a couple of minutes ago, I've made the web clipper, I saved to Notion. So if I come here on my digital brain dumping, I have here a bunch of different things. Okay, as you can see, these are a bunch of articles that I have been collecting for a couple of years now. July 16th, 2020, lol. Yeah, so this is a bunch of different things, content that I have been consuming. And at the same time, anytime I feel it may help me by understanding something better or whatever, I bring it here on my digital brain dumping. And from time to time, I come here, I use a certain article, I write a content piece about it, and that's it, okay? So yeah, so that's it in terms of my process, okay? In terms of what my process means. When it comes to, let me see if I have here my application Bear. Yeah, so when it comes to the application Bear, okay, let me know if you can see my screen with my application Bear, or if you are still on Vinci. Sorry, on Notion.
Notion.
Still on Notion, okay. Yes, so resume share. Let me see if I can come here. New share. Okay. Okay, wait a second. Yeah, okay, so you can see already my Bear application, right? Let me open it once again. So Bear, this is how you write it. It is this app here. And the cool thing about Bear is it's very good in terms of syncing with your app you have for iPad, Mac, and iPhone and other apps. And as you can see, I have here a bunch of different notes that I start taking. For example, this one was a note that I was writing some time ago about a concept from Naval Ravikant. And this is very easy for me to just pick my phone and start writing, okay? And a very cool thing that I love about this app is that you can have your own hashtags, okay? And so, yes, you can have here multiple hashtags and start creating multiple pieces of content or notes under certain hashtags, okay? So, yeah, so this is it. I really want you now to have have space to make some questions if you want to about my process, and let me know. What do you think about building your content manufacturing, content machine?
I'll add something to your process. You don't have the analyzed.
Yes, I do.
It's not
I don't
there.
have here. Yeah.
Oh.
It is inside each thread. In the end,
oh.
I have here the postmortem.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And in terms of my postmortem, I always go to ILO, and I also use, as I've shown you already, my Black Magic. So I come here and I see how a certain thread performed. Okay. Yeah, it is loading, but yes, whatever. And I come here and I close the topic. Like on this one, I come here and I write 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And a couple of months ago, I even had an Excel dashboard. Like I've built an entire dashboard with projections and things I had to improve and things like those. I think I have been thinking about going back to that Excel, make something out of it to share with the community. So let me know if that would help you in any way.
Everything is very helpful. Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, it's just feedback. I have the same type of Notion thing about, you know, the Kanban progress type of, I do it by sprints. And so I don't have an overview. I have ideas also like this that I sort out by topics or topic types.
Yes, I do have that too. Like if you come here, you'll see that every single one has a macro tag, and these are like my content buckets, and then a micro tag, which are specific topics under certain
really use
verticals.
The tag system is super easy in Notion because you can even use, Sarah, you were talking about analytics. You can really classify them, say those were top, you know, and see them, and then in the Kanban, you can filter all the top ones if you need to reread them. And so the tag system is really powerful. I was trying to take notes because I don't have Apple. I was trying to take notes on Notion on mobile, but it's too slow.
It's too slow, and Notion is a horrible app for writing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like as everything is just a block, as they have everything in blocks, if you start writing just by hitting an enter, suddenly things don't work as well as you wanted. If you want to highlight something or put a bold or whatever, you have to go to the block, whatever. So it is good enough, but not necessarily my favorite tool. Tools that I love in terms of building systems of gathering information and taking notes on the fly are these two. I have used both already in the past. Rome research, because yes, it links a bunch of content. Yes, it's very good. This is a very, very, very powerful app. And if you want something similar but cheaper and that you can store on your PC and work on local and with no access to the internet if you don't want to, is Obsidian. Okay, so Obsidian is just like Rome for free. You only pay if you want to have the sync and the web. Okay, so, and it is exactly the same kind of thing. And I love both. I have worked with both, and both are very good in terms of making understanding, just like I was mentioning here, to find things that interconnect with each other and allowing different patterns and different ideas to emerge. Things that sometimes you don't even know that they relate with each other.
One thing I wanted to say too is I quit the system of storing content because I was storing. I was rarely taking action on it. And I stopped making lists of content that I found when I was browsing or looking for stuff from Reddit or anywhere. I stopped doing this because then I wouldn't take action. And so I stored them into a system of call to action. So I plan them, or if I store them, I always know that there's something I want to do with this content. Otherwise, I just piled up, and most of it was outdated very soon. If you take Web3, for example, like, you know, the most obvious stuff has been said. So if you don't do it straight away, if you don't take action, I have the feeling that, you know, you can pile up content, and I would not recommend doing this. I would recommend that if you store a content, it means you know what you want to do from that. Otherwise, you just have an endless
overwhelmed
personal Wikipedia, but it doesn't help.
Yes, and you are 100% right. Like, that happened to me. I stopped doing it, and then when I came to Twitter, I started to do it once again, but more intentional. Okay, so I have started to organize what I started to save. But a very good thing that I have found already is that sometimes a certain topic may have lost its way in terms of being trendy or popular. But the cool thing is that you can rework some of the ideas that have been written about on those articles and rework those ideas into something new. And that's why I still have my brain dump thing that I go there from time to time. And sometimes almost every time I go there, I find very good things to write about.
You kind of update
the
content, saying, oh, this is what we used to think before, and now this is how it has evolved, and you sort of make a post-mortem on this article.
Yes, things like those. Or instead, for example, perhaps 1 year ago, I started to study a ton about all things content marketing, content strategy, whatever, all of that. At first, because due to Deloitte, but then because I really wanted to start to create content for myself. So I went deep for 3 to 4 months. I started to read and study as much as possible about all things content. And suddenly I now have enough content to share, for example, a canon on content marketing. Okay. And if tomorrow I want to share with my community, like, the 15, 20, 30 best articles or resources to learn about content marketing, I have all of that set ready already, you know, and that's a way on how I still use some of the content that I gathered some time ago. Yeah. So, and Sonia, I know that perhaps for you, and even naturally for Sarah, having this view, like for you that you come from a product background, so having a campaign is quite natural or logical. And Sarah, perhaps she has been working with Kanban boards and things like these, exactly like these, to organize content for the last couple of years. But I hope that both perhaps for Christian and Tita and Farouk and others, taking a look into this, perhaps it will help them. I hope so, because I know that the Kanban board is very used in all things tech, and even perhaps content, but not necessarily in other spheres. So I hope it helps to take a look into how I try to do things. Okay, so, okay, is there anyone with any other question? I'll stop sharing right now. Okay, so you know already why you should create content to build digital leverage, how building digital leverage helps you to scale your personality, how building an audience is like a very powerful tool nowadays in a noisy world that we live in. You know already that you should separate noise and protect your attention by following the right people. For that, you should use Twitter Spaces and you should use other tools. So we have seen here a bunch of content over the last 3 weeks. I believe it has been, for perhaps most of you, sometimes even overwhelming. So as I've mentioned, over the next couple of days, I'll send you a couple of emails by like reminding you about certain topics, to revisit a certain lesson or a certain thing, and then for you to open, always let the open door for you to come into an office hour or feedback session to gather more feedback, to be with the rest of the group and all of that. Okay, so feel always free to come back to me, sending me a message. I'll be always on our Discord. That's where I spend enough time. So, or most of my time daily. So feel free to come back. Okay. And now I just wanted to ask you all like 2 to 3 minutes of feedback. So I know I don't want to take you enough time, much time. I'll share with you like a form for you to write something, whatever. But if you have anything to say here, like topics that you'd love me to bring, or things that you have thought that I could have brought, things like those, I don't know, or in terms of the structure, I don't know. So feel free to share if you want to. If not, we can have one-on-ones, or you can just send me an email, something.
Yeah, I'll go first. That's fine.
Okay.
Being a content creator myself, when I come to Twitter, I must say you focus on the right things. But for me, I need it deeper, especially on how to structure information, because that's my struggle. I come from more or less long format. So I come from Instagram and Facebook. And I'm still not pretty sure how to summarize it for Twitter.
Okay.
So think about that. And I think it's really cool if you add how to convert other platform content into Twitters, because I really like that subject.
Okay. Okay. So those are very good bullet points, let's say. Very good points. Yes. Okay. Let me know. So when you say structuring content, you are actually saying something like, "Hey, Bernie, how do I write a good thread?"
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know the CTA part, I know the hook part, but when I look to tweets, and good tweets, not tweets, good tweets, I still think there's something missing in my information. So because I'm used to such a long format comparing to Twitter, that I need a little more information about it.
Okay. Would it help if, for example, on Friday, our last feedback session, if I brought a couple of things like how to structure a thread, like precisely, would it help?
And
like
even do it
how
with
to
us.
go from exactly. How to go from an idea to writing something to structuring a good thread. These are good hooks, like some examples of good hooks, what to use, like percentages, numbers, whatever. Okay, so all things about writing good threads. Would it help to bring some content on that Friday?
For me, yes. For me, yes. Okay. And it's a really cool idea to share a thread that we produce on the course. That will be really cool.
Yeah, Farouk made that one last Monday. So I gave some feedback on Farouk's threads. So anyone wanting to bring your own tweets and threads by the next Friday, feel free to do it, okay? So next Friday, it will be about all things writing threads, okay? So I'll bring some content, like 30 minutes of content, no recap on today's lesson. So I won't do a recap. It will be 100% on how to write a good thread, a compelling thread. I'll give you some examples, both mine and other people's. And then the feedback session, it can be for you to bring your own threads, okay? So our last homework, it was about coming up with good ideas threads. And now this Friday, let's then tackle some threads that you may want to write about, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
I hope you record it on Friday. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I hope you record it on Friday. That's what I'm.
Yes, I will. I will record it. Okay, Farouk.
Sorry, go ahead, Sandy.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I wanted to add to Sarah's point. I agree. I agree very much that the writing part is something, you know, that we need to be working on. And I feel like if you could help us skip all the basic mistakes, that would be helpful. So in terms of, for example, leading us to writing the best threads, showing us the bad ones, I think is very useful too. Because the bad ones, you know, you don't detect them. Of course, you know, as a reader, if it's within your topic, you know which ones you want to read, but you're not always the target. And what is too long, what is not too long, why am I bored, why am I not bored, things like that. I feel also on the writing side, there are things linked to express your personality that we didn't tackle. And I feel Twitter is a place where you should express, I think Instagram too, but I'm not an expert, but I feel Twitter at least is a place where you should express your personality, which is not like LinkedIn, for example, where you should hide your personality and speak by the LinkedIn words. That's my perception, but okay, at least I believe it's less than Twitter. And expressing your personality and writing the way you like to write and do this 100% is sometimes helpful to stand out of the crowd. So writing style, and even if it's not maybe easy to find a framework for that, maybe showing us examples of people who...
There are enough frameworks that I can share. There are enough frameworks that I can share that will give you like 3 months of content. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, no, we don't want this, but
just to share. Yeah.
No, but I mean, you know, some people do it super wisely. Some people want to show they're intellectual. Some others, you know, they use sophisticated language. Some others want to show that they're fun. And I don't think it's only just natural. So,
sorry, I was talking about frameworks for you to write threads, not frameworks for you to showcase your personality.
Yeah, okay. In terms of showcasing your personality, some do it in an amazing way. And it's not always very loud. Sometimes some people do it in a very quiet way, and they're just being, you know, picking the right language. And I feel that might be helpful. As for
what do you mean by very loud? Is Elon Musk too loud? Yes, he is. Then
yes,
what a question. Okay.
No, but some people make it super funny, tell a lot about their personal stuff. They cut words, because they sort of, you know, there's coolness in everything they say. They quote people in a certain way. And some others are super intellectual. They use sophisticated language. They try to show that they are on the spot, and you know, they like accuracy. Some others don't. They just like, you know, to just be there and show that they have energy and they're energetic in everything they do, and there are emojis all over the place. So that would be like both ends.
That's like me. I use a ton of emojis. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
And so in terms of the course organization, I was wondering whether a short survey before the course starts wouldn't help you
better assess the type of people we have.
Yeah, be more accurate on the needs we have, and then you have your own database of slides, and you focus on what seems to be, you know, within what we have in common, and what the type of level we have. Are we super beginners? Did we try hard and not succeed? Do we think that we are mature on understanding the network? Not really. I don't know, things like that.
Okay.
Voilà, I can't think of anything else for that.
Okay, so one question. What if part of the content was like on a learning platform that you can just go and watch some videos, and then we had only like, instead of having live lessons, 2 live lessons plus 1 feedback, what if you could just go and do the course on demand by yourself, and then have 2 feedback sessions a week instead of 2 live lessons plus 1 feedback? Have instead like office hours and feedback session, accountability partners and groups to work with.
I would like that.
Okay. Okay, so perhaps you could watch the course whenever you can and want, and then you know that you will have still all the interaction and build relationships and have feedback and work on what you really want to work.
Depends. Some courses, you know, some moments in the course we could really create relationships, you know, because we were sort of jumping into the content. So of course, live is a luxury, but I don't know. I could cope with it. But Sarah seemed to say it's not her type.
It can be boring because sorry
yes,
guys,
I know.
But when we have recorded, don't make it too long. If you have 1 hour of record, it's like you lose me in 50 minutes. That's
no. The idea would be a mix of like articles and 2 to 3 minute videos, things like those. Okay, and not necessarily the entire course. Like I can deliver some things like introduction to the next class on written form and some videos, and then you come to the class all at the same level. Okay, if you know that already, you just click check. If you don't know that already, you go through that part of the material, and everybody comes to the class exactly at the same level, and then we can have better discussions and better learnings and whatever.
It's true. I agree with you, Sarah, now that you say it, that we don't have the same focus, you know, because we consume content the whole day. And so if it's too long, or if it's not because we want to get ready for something, so we sort of check boxes, we can sort of lose focus. I agree with you.
Okay.
Bite size, like 15, maximum half an hour, and it's like you lose me already.
No. That's already enough.
But that's me.
Already huge. No.
Yeah. Bite size. Can be. Yeah.
Okay. And not the entire course. So it would be like a mix between building relationships, getting feedback on our work, and part of the content being delivered live. Okay. Yeah. Just small tips of the course would be delivered just to make sure that everybody's on the same level and gets the same information and all of that, and then joins the class. Okay. Okay, Christian, Farouk, anything you want to add on top of Sonia's and Sarah's thoughts?
Yes, I like the homework part. It made me make a banner, for example. I wouldn't have done this in 10 million years. So this is, I like the accountability part, because I'm, as we all are, I guess, quite busy, and it's good if I have a bit of pressure to do something, because otherwise I would put it on my list and it would disappear. So Also, thank you very much for all your work. I really appreciated being part of this. For me, it was too dense in terms of 3, but that's just a personal point of view. 3 sessions per week. It would be, for me, better 1 session per week and a bit more time in between. But doesn't matter. One thing, though, I'm part of an accelerator in America, and I think you have this resource page, right? Where we can download the slides, and it would be cool if this would be like the center and we could meet. And I for example, I would like to meet you guys in 3 months and see whether you have progressed or not. Because for me also, Twitter is an overall, it's a part of a strategy. I'm on Twitter more because I feel I learn most about content creation and about stuff that I'm interested in that bring me forward in my business on Twitter. But my public, I don't know whether my people, that my customers are even on so much on Twitter. So I would love to keep a long-term relationship alive where I could see, hey, how did you grow your audience? What worked for you? What didn't work? You, for example, and I mean that with all respect, you seem to be the Twitter thread person who is writing like the best threads on the universe. But I would like to. I would like to just know what, to learn more in the long run how many threads are normal, because I also know, Arvid Kahl, for example, he tweeted months ago that he doesn't like to read threads. So there are different.
Yes, Arvid Kahl is the type of person that, for example, it took him perhaps 3 times more time than to me to build an audience. Okay, like Arvid took like almost 1 year just to reach 30K, and it took me 5 months, 6 months to reach 30K. So exactly the same number. But the thing is that he doesn't love to read threads. So it is very rare to see a thread coming from Arvid. Okay, instead, he bets everything, all his bets are on engagement and being here every single day, engaging with every single person on all things building in public and bootstrapping your business and things like those. Those are his content topics, and he's doing very, very well. So yes,
no, I didn't meant it in a judgmental way. I just
no. I know that. Yeah, don't worry. No, I'm just saying that yes, there are different strategies and different people that prefer different things. And so yes, I can't reproduce what Arvid has been doing because I love the thread thing. I really believe that threads help you convert more people, and from time to time you'll get some threads going viral, which means that you will be able to tap into other people's audiences and you will grow faster. But that's not the rule.
And I love reading them. To clarify, I really love your threads. But just for me, it's a long term. So it's a very short course, very intense, 3 times a week. I couldn't attend 2 times, and it's just. I would like to have this in a longer term without so much time that I have to dedicate per week. So that's probably my.
Okay. So Christian, let me just challenge you. And what do you think if you had 2 choices here? I can either shorten the course, like 1 week, very intense, like classes every single day, you have homework every single day, but that's it. It is just 1 week. Or instead keep the 2 to 3 weeks model. Like I can reduce 1 week instead of 3 weeks. It can become 2 weeks or something like that. Which one would you prefer in terms of time management and commitment?
No, then I would prefer the 3 weeks because I couldn't just take off a weekend. But may I just say to the resources, because you showed, for example, this very interesting slide about systemic thinking. This would be nice on your resource page to add stuff like this, like external resources and stuff. Just in general, not I noted it now, I don't need it anymore, but in general, further reading. This is what I recommend, stuff like that.
Okay. I will keep adding things and good stuff on our resources hub. Okay, and you will always keep having access to it, so don't worry about it. Okay. Okay.
Christian, we are on the Discord. We are on the Discord, so if you stay there, you know, you can touch base anytime, and you know, if you want to have continuations and feedback, and I mean, that's the plan, right? We stay on the Discord, and it's open to us on every channel, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I think that's a good way to keep in touch.
Yes. So the Discord, just to give you some visibility, you will always have access to the Discord. And why am I mentioning this? Because in 2 months, we are going to start gating or closing the Discord to outside people, and just a couple of them will have access. And in a couple of months, only people having our NFT or buying our membership pass will have access to our Discord and resources hub and some events and bootcamps and things like those. So you will always keep having whatever you have, an NFT or not. So you will always keep having access to our Discord and our things, the things that we build here. So don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. So I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything on top of what has been said. Farouk, I don't know. What about you?
I definitely want to do that, but I need to hop off in 2 minutes. So maybe I might have to DM you next Monday, Tuesday, but I'll cover a few important points, and then the details maybe we can talk about next week if you have time.
Yeah, go ahead, shoot them.
It was an interesting course, and I do agree with some of the suggestions that Sarah, Sonia, Christian talked about. One is have some of these slides, etc., being offline, so that we do our homework on those. And the 60 minutes could be more like hands-on, like what you did on Monday with my thread, more hands-on. You see, my problem is I suffer from what I understand is what I call is the curse of knowledge.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I'm more of a technical savvy person, so I need to bring myself to a different level to explain things. I like to explain things in a simple fashion, but it's still, I need to understand to come to the right level. So going to what Sarah and Sonia were talking about, but in my case, I mean, they were talking about how to take them from Instagram or these other media into Twitter. For mine, it's more like I've been writing research papers and stuff like that. So how do I come from that world into the Twitter world to make it more accessible to a lot more people, as one example? But again, I'll get into the details next week and I'll talk to you about it. But in summary, having the offline material and trying to do more hands-on in the 60 minutes would be my recommendation. Also, in terms of reviews, I know, for example, today I was clocking, you spent about 15-20 minutes on recap. I don't think it's needed. You should expect we are all responsible people. We are all adults in the room, and you don't have to recap. I mean, if we are interested in the recap, we should not be here. We are not college kids or whatever it is. Would be my take on it. I mean, that's my 2 cents. So the hands-on part of it, and then the other thing I got to really hop off now. One other thing that came to my mind is, remember, you have a challenge which is to double your audience in 2 months. So why not also have a challenge like that when you start? Give us some reading material, do some postmortem analysis in the very first class, and then say you got to add 100 or some number that you pick, 50, 100 followers, maybe not doubling in 3 weeks, but you have the 3-week course. And in the 3-week course, let us show you some results. Add 50 people, add 100 people, I mean, I don't care whatever number it is. I'm just picking some number. Maybe, I mean, depending upon how many we have. If we have just 25 followers, maybe we add another 25 followers. If we have 400 followers, maybe we add 100 followers. I don't know, maybe 20% of whatever our current following is. That's what we need to add on, something like that. That would possibly differentiate you in the marketplace, would be my thinking. And now we can say, hey, good to get into this course. You get the hands-on advice, and you also have targets to meet in the 3 weeks that the course will be valid or whatever it is. My thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good idea. Yes, and thank you all. Thank you very much for your feedback. I love feedback, so I have already here a bunch of different things, both on the theory side and the course in itself. And we are going to offer a second batch by the end of June. So we are starting the second batch by the end of June. So a bunch of these feedback will be incorporated on our second batch. So yes, I hope we can improve on the quality of what we are currently offering here. And thank you very much. I think this is it for today, and see you on our feedback session by Friday.
And nice to see all of you guys. I will not be here on Friday, but let's be in touch. Christian, Sarah, Sonia, and obviously Bernie.
It was nice to meet you.
All the best.
Yeah, let's DM and DM here and DM there, and of course we all react. Because it's my life is like DM everywhere. I have like 14 apps open, and so anyway, we can just, I thought, since you're leaving, react on everyone's thread and give us feedback. Could be in DMs when we see each other's thread, because we had the same class, and I felt like we should support each other to write, because if no one is waiting, then I feel like
What will you do if some of your students will have more followers than you?
I'll give them a bottle of wine Porto, port wine Porto. I don't know how to say it.
Not for me, thank you.
But for you, I have French champagne. We can do that.
Okay. Yeah. I have no problem. I have no problem with watching students surpassing the master. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So don't worry.
Long way to go.
Yeah. So my friends, thank you very much. See you on Friday. And once again, I'll upload the video and the slides as usual. Okay. So see you on Discord and see you Friday. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.